Support Network, known as YSN. We organise events and activities for young people. We are supported by Auburn Community Development Network, ACDN. The idea started months ago in a meeting talking about anniversary of 9/11. We've thought there's heaps of talk shows about 9/11 and, the impact it's made on people. So we thought, let's do a Q&A and see what the young people think about this. Now today we are very, very privileged to have Professor Peter Manning as our moderator. Professor Peter Manning has worked in this journalism field for over 40 years. He was producer and executive producer of the ABC Current Affairs program Four Corners. He also established the programs Lateline, Foreign Correspondent and Landline nearly 20 years ago. In 2008, he won the Gibran Award from the Arab Heritage League Australia for services to Australia's Arab community and the Abyssinian Muslim Achievement from the Affinity Foundation for excellence in media. I would now like to hand over to Peter.
Thank you very much. Welcome to this event. I think it's an absolutely excellent thing for the Youth Network to put on for not only youth but also for the community of Sydney, and I congratulate the Youth Network. Mohammed Tariq up here is a third-year student studying law and journalism at UTS, my old teaching university, and is also the president of the UTS Muslim Society.
I think this discussion tonight is very important in many regards. I think 9/11 brings about a lot of memory, a lot of emotion, a lot of discussion, a lot of ideas, a lot of politics. That faith comes into play as well. So I think it's important to hear the voices of young people in terms of how they've been affected by the atrocities of 9/11. Well, right after 9/11, I was 10 years old and I went to an Islamic school. My older brother was 11. I remember walking down the street with my mum, who wears the jilbab, which is a longer version of the scarf or the hijab. And an Anglo-Saxon man, like literally crossing the road, yelled at her, words to the effect of, get out of the country, terrorists, take off that towel. I think he said towel or tea towel, even though it looked like a tent. Yeah. And I don't know, this instinctive reaction from myself and my brother was to protect my mum. So here we are standing in front of this man. I remember pushing him a little. I know that's assault now, but I was 10 at the time. And we pushed him away. And that experience is probably the main experience I had of any sort of Islamophobia in a practical sense. I think the important thing is we need to continue, and because we're younger, and there are some old people in the audience, but we need to bear an open mind when it comes to these sort of sensitive topics and not make them taboo, something we can't talk about. Let's discuss them openly. We can't allow animosity and phobias and apprehension to build inside of us. We all have a common, denominator. Our numerators are different. So, it's important to, as I said, just be discerning, do your research, be analytical and critical, be proactive. Don't be an armchair critic. Actually make a difference, because you can, whether it's citizen journalism or anything as simple as writing a letter. It's possible. So I wish you all the best.
Ryan Bruel, here to my right, is the Executive Officer of the Auburn Youth Centre. He's currently working on his Master's degree in Community Development, focusing on social networking and cyberspace.
The effects for me at the time, on a practical day-to-day level, were minimal, if I'm being completely honest. It was only with the passing of time that I think I was affected, and the world that I lived in at the time increased suspicion, paranoia, thinking in black and white categories, things like that from people around me. Positive thing that happened to me post 9/11 was I became interested in world affairs. It sounds really simple, but when you're 21, you kind of sometimes be stuck in your own head, and I became really interested in what was going on in the world and the relationship between my context and the world around me. And so that was a positive, I think, because it challenged some of the biases and things that I had that needed to be looked at. History seems to show me that humans' capacity to learn from significant events of violence is limited. And so I'm cynical. If I'm cynical about our capacity to... a deep work of change needs to happen in people if things like this are not to happen again. What I got from tonight was just a sense of hope, which is very, very refreshing and lovely to hear. And thank you very much. That's all from me.
Here beside me on my right is Janine, Abdul, Khaliq. She's a first-year student, also doing law and journalism, like Mohammed.
As soon as 9/11 occurred and the war on terror was declared, Arab and Muslim communities have been feeling, I guess, the media targeting them. And people say, well, the Croatians were, targeted, the Asians were, and this is just a phase, it's your turn now. I don't think anybody should have a turn, and it shouldn't work like that. It's not some sort of initiation process where you're vilified by the media for a decade or more so to fit in with the rest of the community. So, yeah, that's where I stand. I do have a story, and I'll never eat at Baker's Delight again for a reason. We went to Nelson's Point at the beginning of the year with my family, and we're walking past Baker. We're getting a lot of stares, and my mum wears a headscarf, and we were just strolling around, just having a good time, and we walked past Baker's Delight, and a woman behind the counter saw us, and literally turned around and just crossed her arms, so her back was facing us when she spotted my mum, and my mum was like, "What the hell? Did she just turn around when she saw me?" So we were like, okay, let's go buy a drink. So I went inside, and she obviously turned around because she thought we had gone. Went inside. This woman literally just turned around. It's like a little dance. And she just crossed her arms, and she stayed facing the back. Like, she would literally not face my mother. And that aggravated me. And my mum was like, well, maybe we should say something. Maybe we should, just talk to her, make it. And I was like, no, let's just leave. You're not going to change this woman's opinion. And it's happened several times when we go to a place where it's not as multicultural and not, you don't see many scarvies around. My mother's copped, a few glares. And like I said, it really annoys me because they're just taking her for face value. The only difference between her and you is a different faith, and she's just wearing a scarf. You haven't spoken to her. You're judging her based on her appearance. So I haven't been directly affected by it in that way, but when it happens to your mother, I could say 10 years later we're a lot more informed, a lot more illuminated, and we can move on with this.
Alamasi Mohammed, here beside me, is an amazing person. Came to Australia as a refugee from Tanzania just about 6 years ago. Is also an exceptional sports person, now as an amateur Muay Thai kickboxer and becoming the Australian junior lightweight champion in 2011.
How 9/11 affected me, when it happened, I was in Australia. I was back in Africa. So I don't know much about it, so I'm hoping to find out from you guys how it affected you. Yeah, that's probably it. When this 9/11 thing happened, where I came from, it's in a village, and I don't even know the name of the village. So, and we didn't have no TV, nothing. So when I came here, I was just honorary African kid. It's my first time going to school. Okay, and then that thing going on. I didn't know nothing about 9/11, so I didn't see no hate in everyone. I've been oh, you're African and you'll do that. No one told me that stuff about 9/11. But I can see everyone hating each other. There was a group of Lebos there and then a group of Tongans there, Christians, and they're oh, where's everyone at, man? I'm over here. Come hang out with me. No. They're I didn't know nothing was going on. Now I just found out about 9/11. So that's why it was all like that. That's what I just found out. That's what we eat.
Amna, Kara Hassan, is studying Islamic Studies at Charles Sturt University, and she manages and plays for the Auburn Tigers women's AFL team, which is much more important, and is passionate about empowering women and young people.
At the time of 9/11, I was in year 7, and I remember the first thing that happened when I got to school was one of the girls called out to another girl, an Afghani girl, "You're terrorists," and the girl crying and responding to that, and I was just confused, to be honest, and probably throughout all of high school didn't really give it much thought. It's only the occurrences in the world, and we live in such a global society, that I started to think, well, what is going on with all the media reporting on Muslims? And I guess it affects how we participate in society, and it affects communities not just locally but in the world. And because we live in a global society, it has a profound effect. I think 9/11 sort of shook us so much that we felt the need to justify ourselves. And I think till now, even though it's 10 years on, we're still trying to justify ourselves. I think before 9/11, people sort of just went about their daily life. And I think because of 9/11 and then a chain of other events that occurred, like the Bali bombings and the London bombings, but after that, there's been a swing back, and I think it's because people are starting to be a bit more proactive. So it's about learning and understanding history and Islam in the modern world today.
To my left, far left, is Catherine Dow, who's studying psychology at the University of Western Sydney, currently completing a work placement at the Auburn Community Development Network as a youth support worker and administrative assistant.
Okay, so 9/11, when that happened, I was only 10, so basically that's been half of my life, and my values, though, I don't think it's changed that much since 9/11 happened, because I still have the same friends, same Middle Eastern friends actually, because I was born in Auburn. And however, for people that are close to me, though, it has changed their values, their morals, their beliefs, and that is quite upsetting to me. I think it's divided our society. It's created distrust among our communities, and it's just, I think we all have to work together on creating a more harmonious society. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. I also want to thank all the people from the Youth Network who did so much effort, almost all young people, to get this together. It was their initiative and a great thing to do, coming out of a great group.